Senator from Illinois.
Mr. President, I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the millions of Americans living with disabilities and on behalf of the many more who, whether they know it or not, are just one day, one accident, one devastating medical diagnosis away from acquiring a disability as well. I've come to the floor on their behalf because I came to the floor by rolling through the Capitol's corridors in the wheelchair you see me sitting on now. And I could come to the floor because 30 years ago, Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act, granting millions of Americans like me better access to the full, independent lives that we deserve. That landmark legislation only passed because of the dedicated activists who crowded in front of this very building in 1990 to demand that their country finally give those with disabilities the basic rights that the Constitution provided. It only became law because dozens of them got out of their wheelchairs, set down their crutches, and crawled up the 83 steps of the Capitol building. Because Jennifer Keelan, an 8-year-old with cerebral palsy, pulled herself to the top of those steps, saying, "I'll take all night if I have to." And because those around her refused to leave a fellow American behind, offering Jennifer the support when she needed it, one step, one shoulder to lean on at a time. 30 years ago, these activists changed senators' hearts, minds, and most importantly, votes. 30 years ago, this legislative body said that people like me mattered. But last week, the Republicans in this chamber proposed a bill that said that we don't. I speak out of a sense of frustration as I watch my Republican colleagues, including the ones who once championed the ADA, attempt to reconstruct brick by brick the shameful wall of exclusion that Congress sought to tear down 3 decades ago. Less than a week after celebrating the 30th anniversary of a Republican president declaring that the ADA would bring us, and I quote, "closer to that day when no Americans will ever again be deprived of their basic guarantee of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Senate Republicans have now put forward legislation that threatens to deprive our community of those same fundamental rights. Many interpreted the timing of the HEALS Act as confirmation of an alarming fact. The GOP has declared war on the disability community and the ADA. I truly hope that this is not the case, and that the timing was a deeply unfortunate coincidence. But at the end of the day, actions speak far louder than words. If Senate Republicans want to demonstrate that they value life, that they value the civil rights of all Americans, they must join Democrats in supporting 2 measures that would show the disability community that their party actually gives a darn about them. First, we need to save lives by preventing mass institutionalization. Placing individuals with disabilities into congregate care facilities where the risk of serious illness and death are high is reckless and unacceptable. To achieve this goal, we must increase the federal Medicaid assistance percentages, or FMAP, by 10% for Medicaid home and community-based services. Republican and Democratic governors alike desperately need this change. The House already passed this 10% FMAP increase months ago, and the Senate must follow suit in any COVID relief deal that is reached. Real-world experience has tragically demonstrated how vulnerable congregate care settings are to deadly super-spreader events like COVID-19. And we know from existing data that Americans with intellectual and developmental disabilities are killed at far higher rates than other Americans when infected with COVID-19. So investing in state efforts to provide Medicaid services to vulnerable populations in the safety of their own homes is just a common sense policy that would save countless lives. Second, Senate Republicans must abandon efforts to gut the ADA once and for all. Disability rights are human rights, and these civil rights must never become optional benefits that can be taken away whenever it's convenient or cheaper for employers and those who are in power. Allowing businesses to exclude employees with disabilities from reopening plans is exactly the type of discrimination that the ADA sought to abolish. Yet the GOP's HEALS Act seeks to relegate millions of Americans back to second-class status, sending the offensive message that our community can be cast aside if the costs to companies are too high. But the harsh reality is that these efforts are anything but new. Decades ago, when my friend Judy Heumann passed her exams to earn a teaching license, she was nevertheless denied the license by the school board, all because of so-called concerns about legal liability in the workplace. They said that because Judy used a wheelchair, she represented a fire hazard and could not safely teach in a classroom. Do these types of concerns sound familiar? The passage of the ADA was supposed to relegate such workplace discrimination stories to the history books. Those outrageous examples of injustice were supposed to represent the nightmares of yesterday, not the reality of tomorrow, made possible by a Republican proposal today. Yet here we are in 2020, and Senate Republicans are shamelessly using a deadly pandemic as cover to gut the ADA and hoist that brick wall of exclusion right back up. No one is asking for special treatment. What we are asking for is to not take away those basic rights the Constitution promised all those centuries ago, and this chamber affirmed 3 decades ago under a Republican president. So as we debate this next relief package, the questions that every member of this body must ask themselves are simple. Are we going to leave Americans with disabilities behind? Are their lives worth saving? Are their jobs expendable? For anyone with a conscience, for anyone with an ounce of compassion, or even just a lick of respect for the rule of law, the answer to those questions should be obvious. You know, in the Army, our soldiers' creed included to never leaving a fallen comrade behind. And I'm alive today because my buddies in Iraq who risked their own lives to recover my body when they thought I was dead, refusing to leave me behind. The activists who crawled their way up the Capitol steps did much the same for each other, helping one another make their way up inch by inch closer to the chamber I am sitting in right now, refusing to let any one of them struggle, to let any one of them fall behind. I'm here on the floor tonight because of those 2 acts of courage from 2 different groups of people, continents away and a decade and a half apart. And now, as a senator, my North Star is paying that debt of honor forward and trying to live up to the sacrifices that they have made for others. So today, tomorrow, and the tomorrow after that, you better believe that I am going to keep fighting to hold the Senate accountable for living up to the motto of the nation that we serve, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. Because this country was built on that idea. It was born from the phrase, we the people. And it grew out of the belief that there's nothing more powerful than the will of the citizenry when the citizenry works with each other and for each other. Our response to this pandemic is a test of our faith in that founding doctrine. If we focus on the we, if we think about uniting the many into the one, then we can save lives and move past this national trauma together. But it's up to each one of us to act in a way that protects all of us, to act in a way that ensures no one, no body, disabled or otherwise, will be left behind. With that, I yield the floor.